This will be just 2 minutes. You ready? All right. Well, first off, I owe Mr. Spears here a huge apology, okay? Last week as I was going on my rant, I called it Shearer and Ali, which Coach Shearer has his own set of information to handle. So, Justin, I apologize because Spears and Ali is a fantastic show with that huge basketball win last night by the Wildcats. I mean, outstanding. And you still, my wife told me you still talk about football. And the big deal, I mean, when people spell my last name with a Z, like my wife is ready to come unglued. So calling you Shearer and Ali, I apologize for that, okay? The opportunity that you guys get to hear from other guys in our staff is huge because when I sat up here in March with Joe, we talked about how excited I was to work together and have the opportunity to work with him. It's been unbelievable. He did save the Leroy Palu. Like Leroy, we got on a visit here before we'd hired Joe, and then he goes on to visit West Virginia, and he committed to West Virginia, by the way. So I had to call in Joe, and Joe talked him off the ledge to come back here. So, I mean, the impact that they've had and what Bobby's done with the receivers, like I talked about last week, unbelievable. And then the only comment I'm going to make about the game, okay, because Jen has been taking a beating for the long ball on the second down. If you go back on YouTube and watch the clip, it's really elite communication by them because it was an illegal formation is what the penalty was called. And so they had two guys on the line of scrimmage. When they shifted tight end, you see Boog tell Dalton ineligible, meaning if the number 2 receiver runs downfield, it's a running play. They can't throw it downfield. It's illegal. So you see Stooks pointed out, you see Dalton pointed out. So Jen's coming downhill on the running play when he started to come downhill. And they throw it over the top. Well, Jen's chasing it from behind because it's natural play. But those guys did a great job of identifying that they can't throw the ball downfield. It's illegal. So Colorado had made a mistake on that play right there. So I thought that stuff's elite. I mean, we're up to 15th in the country in total defense. But if you look at the real number of yards per play, we're 8th in the country in yards per play out of 537 plays at 4.37 yards. Like, that's elite. And that's because of Joe. That's because of Josh Bringell, because of Ars and Chip Viney. Like, what those guys are doing on the defensive staff on the side of the ball and helping me put together the plan every week, and the credit that goes to those guys for how hard they're playing, how physical they are, and those elite communication at those moments and why we've been able to do stuff. Now, you can get after Joe about this quarterback run stuff, okay? Okay, stop blaming me. Coach Salave'a? No, 100% on me. I told you we should be 7-1 if it wasn't for me. But getting the opportunity to listen to these other guys is fantastic because the staff that Coach Brennan put together is unbelievable. So I'm honored to be with them. But, one, I apologize. It's Spears and all. It's a great show.
With that being said, Joe, Leroy Palu's recruitment, tell us about just the conversations that you had and just what he's been able to do in year one.
He's the one that we thought showed tremendous toughness, not flashy, but he's been reliable, steady. We look at the film every time we're grading, he keeps showing up. And he's starting to gain confidence in understanding concepts. And that's the biggest thing, the ability of other guys to be able to grasp the concept, because now it's allowed Coach Danny to open up the plethora of the things that he's accustomed to. And so now we just need to make sure that we're detailing. But, he started for us last week, and he's going to continue to gain momentum, and we're excited. I'm just on him about not scooping and scoring because we drill those. But it's if you can get 3 or 4 Palus every year, then you're good, because it's all about trust, accountability, and being reliable to be there for us. So that's what Palu is for us.
And did he get his first career start last week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What led you to make that decision, and how have guys like Tia and Deshaun helped you as far as mentoring him and getting him?
Well, we're always discussing as a staff about we don't have a set depth chart. We have an organizational chart, and those are earned every week, every day, and we're always discussing that leading up to the end of the week to see who's been consistent. And Tia, Leroy, Deshaun, those are all starters. They just can't be on the field at the same time. But you look at the amount of plays that they play each game. Even last week, they all play a good amount. So, but the goal is, how can I do a job to make those guys play faster and not think too much? And it is so awesome to have the buy-in on their part, because if the kids are not buying in, it really doesn't work. So we as a defensive staff, we just try not to mess it up, put them in a position, it's like in a school bus. You're trying to situate them in the best seat so that they can be on their way. And so that's what we're about now. And in this part of the season, man, it's about detailing and streamlining things so that we can play even faster. And it's so awesome to see the guys respond to that. And we don't have too many rules on our side. You just can't break down, and you can't come up any less than your absolute best effort and finish and physicality. Those are the things that we've been preaching to our guys, and we're excited for this opportunity this week.
One question for each. For Bobby, Gio was in here earlier, and there were some plays early in the season he had opportunities to make and didn't necessarily make them. It seems like he is doing so more now. Where have you seen the growth out of him over the course of the year?
Just consistent work ethic. I think it's important to understand he is a true freshman. There's going to be mistakes made, opportunities. You want him to make those, and he wants to make those, and sometimes he doesn't come down with those, and it happens that way. So you just come back to work. But Gio's been great about, bringing the same energy, being consistent every single day, putting the work in the classroom, being able to take, the learning from the room and applying it onto the football field. And as fast as he can go is as much as he'll play. And so that's why you're seeing him get more opportunities now. So I'm just really pleased with his progression and how far he's come.
And for Joe, what was the timing of you getting hired and reaching out to Leroy? And then how did you even know about him?
I really didn't play a big part other than because I missed the young man. And when I got here, immediately Coach Danny and Brendan said the young man was here earlier, and he's actually at West Virginia. Chatter has that he had committed to Rich Rod and the staff there. And so all I was trying to do is just trying to see if I can have a conversation and can really lay out the plan. Because I've seen coaches' body of work, Coach Danny and being with Coach Rocky Long in the past. So I'm familiar with some of the concept. I just felt like a kid like Pablo, after looking at his film, he would be a good fit just from being accountable and consistency. And we were just grateful that the young man gave us a chance to listen to the things that we laid out. And that's the biggest thing, is just we had to make sure that the development plan was a real one. And so that in the world of recruiting, there's so many sales pitch, right? And at the end of the day, we have to stand on our work. And it was just so cool that Leroy gave me a chance to kind of really lay that out, how he's going to be developed, because his strength is not the same as Tia, it's not the same as Deshaun. So as a coach, we have to identify their strength and quadruple that, and then work on the things that they need improvement on. But as far as the opportunity to be a pinnacle part of what we came here to change, the culture and the transformation of the program, he needed to be here with us to have a chance to build the front line. Like any approach, it starts up front, and he's going to continue to work for the things that he's going to earn, and I'm so fired up for him and the rest of the guys.
Justin? Bobby, how do you reflect on, or can you share about the penalty against Houston and what happened on the sideline?
Wow, man, that was just all on me, just not being aware. I knew exactly where the guy was, and I felt like the play was already done, and it just kind of bumped into me.
The problem is he still thinks he's playing, so he's probably visualizing him coming across. It happens to all of us,
It happens.
But
It happens. It happens.
Oh, God.
So we've seen Luke Wyson start to become really an effective punt return. You played that position as well. How's it been like just coaching him in that position, and how has he done so far this season?
Luke is the ultimate team player. Just his patience and waiting for his opportunity to get back there. He knew he's been capable to be able to do that. So we're just kind of shuffling around a couple guys prior to him. So him just being patient, being consistent, showing up every day, and waiting for his opportunity. And obviously you see his ability when he has the ball in his hand. He's very consistent. He works at it. He wants to make the right decisions back there. So I'm just really excited that he gets that chance to be able to show that skill set back there.
And I think some of us are maybe kind of a little bit surprised of Spivey's speed. Is that something that he has developed since he's gotten here, or is that something that he's kind of always had in his bag?
He's had that in his bag. I think what's developed is his confidence within it. You know, he's always had that part of that, but more or less, you know, what you're telling him and when those opportunities present for him and what he's hearing in his head is about finish, finish, finish. And then, you know, there's some technique to it. You know, when you get to the edge, instead of stopping your feet, when you're 6'4", you're that big, you know, playing behind your pads, lowering your pads and running through contact. So a lot of that is just constant encouragement for him, understanding that he can do that when he does get in the open field, make guys tackle him instead of stopping his feet and allowing them to get to his legs. And it's really not much different, honestly, to what the conversation was with T-Mac when I first got here, because that was a major challenge for him too. It's just, hey man, you got to learn how to run with the football and finish these runs. And the biggest point was that you are fast enough to do this, and you got to believe in yourself to be able to get that done and just trust it. And that's what Trey has been able to do.
Michael? One question for each of you. Bobby, Brian Urlacher was here last week, and we were talking to him about various things, and you were teammates with him. He seemed a little surprised that I don't know if you saw this, that you were a coach.
Yeah.
I think the implication was that you've matured a lot.
That's great. I love that.
Are those, like your growth as a person, your maturity as a person, and remembering how maybe you were when you were college age, is that something that you can use when you're talking to kids who are currently college age and maybe relate to their experiences, or
definitely
like what their journey is going to be like in life?
Yeah, no doubt about that. The experience just in life period, one, right? And then having had played this game in the same exact spot, and then, you know, have an opportunity to play in the National Football League too. So you combine all of that together and just having a good, you know, sort of a blueprint for these kids to be able to speak them through some stuff and, you know, kind of foresee what's on the forecast that's going to happen, that can happen. And, you know, we all got to go through growing pains, and we all mature at different paces in life. And, you know, there's no doubt being a rookie in Chicago with Brian and watching those guys, just kind of how they went about their business. And me being a young rookie and understanding if this is something that I want to do for a long time, it's going to take a lot of change in where I was personally. So it's always great for Brian to notice that my maturity is definitely growing up a little bit. It's funny, I'm 44 years old. And no matter what, when somebody's older than you, they are always going to look at you as the young guy. So I will take that, and he will always be the old guy. And I texted Brian after that, and we laughed about it. But you know, he's always been cool. When I was at school at ASU, it was great to be able to offer his son there. So you know, he's known I've been coaching for a while, and it's great to have him back in the capacity he was here for the Arizona Bowl. So it was cool.
I don't know if you're allowed to say ASU. You're supposed to call it the school up north.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We'll leave that one.
Kansas has a really good quarterback, a couple good running backs, a lot of speed on their team. They do a lot of, like, I guess what you guys call it, eye candy, right? Side to side. What is your assessment of their offense and what you guys need to do?
Coach Lupo, man, he's done it at Buffalo. He's a proven winner. You look at the film and the coaching really speaks out. Those guys are well coached. You know, you got a quarterback, Jalen. He's a dynamic one. He's probably the one that's going to, you know, one of the biggest challenges that we had to face, because he's got a cannon of an arm, but also dynamic enough to get out of there with his feet. And so the biggest thing is for us is how can we minimize his opportunities, because he's going to get his. But it starts up front. We have to be sound in what we do. They got a big line there with Bryce at the center. Familiar with Bryce because we had recruited him at other places, and he was at A&M, and now he's the starting center there. And then obviously Daniel and LaShawn, those are dynamic running backs. Those guys got good balance and power, vision, downhill runners. So, and they got a receiving core that will hurt you if you sleep on them. And so I think the guys understand the magnitude of what we're getting into at this point of the season. But with Kansas, that's what at the end of the day, that ball snaps, we have to be ready to play and be physical and execute what what we're having our guys to, as far as game plan wise. But Kansas is going to do what they do, and we're going to be ourselves. I think the beauty of this matchup is it has a little bit of throwback feel to it, and I've been excited for our guys because we have an opportunity to chase, an opportunity to be one of the top defenses in the country, and so our guys are really focused on that piece. It faces opponents with an opportunity to push ourselves from the week prior, and so. But Kansas is a well-coached team. He's Coach Leopold. He's a proven winner. Buffalo or Wisconsin, Whitewater, I believe, and so he's been around the block a while, and so we're excited for our guys, and it's just funny because you had talked about our staff and Viney and RC and Bringell, but man, we have our guys in the background with Palmer and Cobra and Tariq and Dak. Man, those guys, it's been a fun bunch of guys just working together, and we get on each other's nerves, but it's about putting our guys in a position to where they're calm and being confident, and so we're willing to do whatever it takes to do that. But this is another opportunity for the program to take the next step defensively and as a unit, and we've never been about things outside of them being our very best. If we're being our very best by redlining, straining, executing, and then put it on film, we'll have a shot, and it's funny, I'm on a sidetrack because Urlacher came by and he had mentioned how he had choke slammed Coach Danny, and so I'm visualizing this, and I'm looking at Brian, and then I'm looking at Coach Danny. I said, wow. Supposedly, allegedly, it didn't happen like that, but from what Brian Urlacher put out, it was a massive WWE neck choke on the table, and so I would pay to see that again, But it's the brotherhood and camaraderie that is forged in this game goes beyond football, and we're just fired up that he's nearby and another resource to our guys because he was there with Lance Briggs, and I think Brandon Malumaluna was up there at some point. So, it's cool to see coaches that went through the ringer because of our experiences. We're able to funnel that to our guys so that they can be confident, poised, and be gritty. And we're not going to shield them from bad things that happen, but at least our credibility, our body of work. It's been awesome to see the guys really just continue to buy into this, and we're just trying to, elevate the standard and the culture of how we do things here in Arizona. As Coach Danny said, man, hashtag Desert Built, and we're fired up for this opportunity.
Justin, a couple for you guys. First for Joe, Zach Salave'a has been getting some playing time over the last couple of games. Did you have any influence on his recruitment? Did you help bring him over here? And then what's just kind of the plan for him moving forward?
Yeah, when I got in, Zach was one of the guys already signed, and he was working his way to get into being admitted. I was just gauging everything from what Coach Danny and the rest of the staff had with the process of recruiting him. The biggest thing with Zach was how can we get the young man here first, and then can we get him on a plan to conditioning level. The football part is not a problem. It was more of getting him acclimated to those things. That young man left home, and then when I say home, it's Brisbane, Australia. And that's not an easy feat to come all the way, skip California, Arizona, and be out in Kansas, I believe. That's a long ways. And so there's a lot of that homesickness too that, I had to kind of gauge from Zach where he's at mentally. But, I think the last few weeks it's been really good to see him because he's being pushed, not by just me, Coach Danny, everybody's on his butt as far as just, getting himself in a situation where he can at least function, and that has to do a lot with his nutrition and conditioner level, and so he's getting a lot of dose of that. It's tough for any young man to come in and be thrown in the fire in the middle of the season, but he's been able to just sticking with it. But then my part as a coach is really making sure to dummy down everything so that it is not as overwhelming you know. But to his credit, he's slowly but surely coming on. It was so cool to see him make some plays last weekend. But I think those are the things that everybody, all of his teammates, was supporting him and excited for him, because he's a young man that we really don't know, but we see a glimpse of it. And so for him to get that on the national stage in this conference is pretty cool. And the challenge is always to be better than yesterday. And so he's a young man that I'm excited for moving forward, and we're going to continue to get that body right, and he's going to be a handful. So I'm excited that he's here with us.
And then it's homecoming week. I'm sure you guys probably have a handful of teammates that are coming back. Have you guys ever been back for homecoming when you weren't on the coaching staff? And how excited are you guys for this week?
No, I have not been back for homecoming other than coaching here. I don't think so.
Yeah, this will be my first.
Yeah, this would be my first.
You know,
not my
it's-
first. Obviously, last year was my first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for social media and Facebook. That's how I've been able to track things over the last few years. But no, we're excited. You know,
Yeah.
I think to that, it's for the families and it's for the fans. Our guys are really pretty much locked in on our routine and our regimen. You know, the best way to approach any homecoming or any of those situations is winning the ball game, and it's all about the ball game. It'll be fantastic to see the alumni base and whatnot reconnected with those guys. But, you know, like Coach Bobby and myself, we're here to try to make sure that we can at least restore order to what this program meant to us and our experiences, and make it better than what it was. And I think we're right in the middle of that right now. And so the homecoming is just a more of a fanfare, but we know what the important piece of it all, and for our guys, it's just to prepare our hearts out to make sure that we can take the field and do a great job of playing and competing to the best of our abilities.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.